Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever, whenever that you may be tuning in. This is Yonks, and this is an AiAgents.Box tools deep dive working group with the Collabberry team. And on the screen here, they're actually underway with the Giveth Quadratic funding round, loving on public goods. And this is something that I will be donating to. I need to do a swap for some USD Glow because I want to potentially tap into that. But on that note, I'm going to go ahead and stop the screen share. I'm going to throw this link also real quick. We also have Triggs from Neros, who also has a project on, and Triggs and I are connected through the DAO's channel on Farcaster, and if that's something, I'll throw some links in there. But here's their project as well. And on that note, I'm going to stop the share and hand it over to the Collabberry team so that they can help us navigate using their tool for rewarding our team of contributors in our pre-launch phase of our project. So on that note, over to you, friends.
Thank you, Jan. Thank you very much. Before going to navigate directly in the tool that my colleagues are going to help me, not sure if Mile or Kansi are going to take care of that. Let me just introduce a little bit what Collabberry is and why are we on the scene. Uh, I really wanted to start by sharing my personal story in the DAO world, where a lot of I've been participating in many DAOs, and getting tokens, getting shares, getting ownership over those DAOs has been like really difficult. In the sense of you need to go to proposals, make a statement about the work that you're going to do, doing the political thing that you need to get in touch with the other people and you will say, hey, I want so many tokens for this. And then if you want to have a continuous flow of this token, it's like it doesn't make sense to go through voting and so on to have tokens. So and this is mainly the reason why I joined Collabberry. I met Milena over a year ago. She told me about this. I was like, whoa, this is actually something that very few people out there are thinking about, because right now we have, for example, Coordinate, but they do it directly with compensations. They don't care that much about shares or distributing sweat equity or whatever. We can talk later about that. But in this approach, it's a really fair way to distribute shares over a Web3 company, in which people just will pass through a peer-to-peer assessment, meaning that your colleagues are going to evaluate you, and following that also with other metrics like market rate, like people will have an opportunity to state out their value, like, hey, this is Gustavo, I'm doing an amazing marketing job, and this is my rating market, and this is the amount of money that I would like to charge you. But maybe the company is like, hey, Gustavo, we appreciate your money, we really want you, but we can't pay you. Like for real, like we are just a startup, we are running with public good fundings. Like, how can you accept a lower amount? And I say, yes, but why? What are you giving me in compensation for that? And this is where this dynamic way of attributing sweat equity that Collabberry provides is what's taking place in. You are going to understand this later when we try out the app itself. Not sure if this is something that it's already solving the sorry, explaining as itself the issue. Sorry, I have a little bit of background noise here that is distracting me, but yeah, I think this is a very good introduction. Unless Youngs or anyone else, if you think like you have any question of Mile, you want to add something on top of what is shared, that will be great.
Yeah, and I don't know if it makes the most sense to do a screen share of the team that we have created for my IRA.fund. I'm seeing some head nodding there, so I think I might have that on an open tab here. If not, I will just go through the process. Let me actually just go through the process of doing that. So I'll fire back up my screen share here. And so just at Collabberry.xyz. Well, I do have a Siri. Well, I'll just go through the process of going through the homepage because this is what most people would look. So try the app, and then that opens up. And it was just a couple weeks ago that you flipped the switch on beta. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. Maybe even less. But yeah, before that, we wanted just to schedule calls with people that were interested in that. But we stress test our beta. We really want people to try out the application. So we just put the button there a few weeks ago.
Yeah, and real quick too, I'm gonna bring open your Mirror article that you published there, Gustavo, for Collabberry. Let's see.
Yeah. That mirror articles explains what is the vision of what you guys can actually do with this beta app. We have designed this with something very clear in our mind, which is like to provide ownership of our organizations to people. It's a dynamic ownership based on sweat. We really measure and distribute sweat capital. We put it in a token and we give it to contributors. And yeah, that article is just explaining a little bit the technicalities of it, also how we can use the app itself. There you have. Actually, if you just Google this Collabberry beta launch, you will be able to find this article or mirror. If you want to give an
And
extra collaboration, you can also mint there, and those
I
funds are
did. I
going to
minted it
go
for you
into the project.
myself too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was the first mentor. I think that that might have been the first time that I was the first mentor on a Mirror article. And I'm going to throw this link in here for everybody on the live stream. And I think that that still gets sent out to our Discord. We were having a side conversation about DAO reputation in the RNDAO Discord, and for anybody that's interested in the reputation. But anyway, let's go to the team tab. So we've already went through the onboarding process, and I see Ernest on here. I sent you a DM, Ernest. So if you wanted to go through, I think I sent that on Signal. So that would be another person that we will definitely. Ernest is doing some amazing stuff with AI agents in our community, doing a lot of exploration. So yeah, so help us understand. We've onboarded the team. What's the next step for us to do now?
So when you onboarded the team, you mean that you share the link to your team, and then they onboarded themselves, and that's why you are seeing here right
Yeah,
now, right? Okay,
correct. Yeah,
so
they
basically, amazing. Basically, you have now yourself and your team, and they are all registered in the app. The next thing, what we need to do is to set the agreement. If these sweat points that we're talking about are calculated on the assessment or on the review of each person based on the agreement they have. So this is an essential part of the process where the organization is setting clearly, or in this case, the organization admin, is setting clearly what are the agreements for each person. So I don't know, maybe just for yourself, you are the one that may have clearly the agreements. We have the role, like I don't know what is your role within my era, how you consider yourself, chief digital Alchemist, I love this kind of new names. Like you are one of my people, Jones. Amazing. And here, yeah, your responsibilities. Like, what is the team counting on you to do? And of course, in your case, as a chief alchemist, this is something that you really need to clarify so people will have the right expectations on what your work is based. And this is very important because then when people are going to review your work, this is the reference to them. Okay, so build cool shit. I think that's pretty that's pretty clear.
Fitting for Chief
Recommend.
Digital Alchemist, right?
Yeah, 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 amazing. And yeah, it will be actually very good for you to have it. Milena, is there, I'm not sure about this, is there a way to change this agreement in a later moment easily by the
Yes,
admin?
yes. You can always edit
Oh,
it, so don't stress about what responsibilities you write there.
okay. So
Yeah.
yes, you can just put examples there and you can edit this later. Then the commitment, how much of your effort you are giving to this? Like, are you full time on this, assuming that full time is 8 hours per day, 5 days a week, or whatever reference is there for your team? I mean, it's important that the 100% is the same for everyone. Of course, not everyone needs to be 100%, but in your case, you will be 100%. I'm understanding. In other cases, there might be 50, 80, 20%, whatever. So I think the
I was gonna
commitment
put
part is,
myself at like 200 or 300% because that's probably, and maybe Tyler can attest, because I've been communicating that for the next 6 months I'm gonna work harder than the last 6 years combined because this is one of the times that I feel it's time to mash on the accelerator as far as leaning into and hopefully getting some early network effects surrounding AI agents. So I was looking to go over 100%, but that looks like a limit here on the commitment bar for your app, which is fabulous.
yeah, it is a limit. I mean, you're right. Like, objectively speaking, I think people may go on 120, maybe 150%. Maybe in mental health way, that's not very advisable. But in any case, just put it 100%, and this is a way to prove yourself. I don't know if you remember what was the I don't remember the name of the variable. Mile, help me out here. The compensation variable.
Performance adjustment rate. Yeah, just to mention, the commitment, it's intentionally verbalized as commitment and not hours per week. Exactly because of that, because especially in a startup, like it's about how much of your time you commit to this project. Because in many cases, starting something new means also having a side hustle, right? So like that's what we are trying to communicate here. And then of course throughout, like our algorithm is based on the two inputs, one being the agreement that you're currently setting up, which is what is your agreement with the organization and what do you agree with the organization that your work is valued. And then the second input is actually crowd wisdom of the crowd. We use the wisdom of the crowd. So your teammates are saying, yeah, but Jason is doing so much more, right? So it's actually not 100%. It's putting 120, where if that's what the group believes, then this is how we measure the compensation. So this is about all of this is all about trying to be objective about what we can offer to the organization and the organization expects from us in terms of value, which can be extremely abstract. It can be there's lots of startups that start with equal market rate, regardless of whether you're technical or you're an artist, because that's not really the thing that you put value in a new organization, if that's the type of vibe, right? It's all about the values of the organization. So yeah, the role and responsibilities are their purpose is for your teammates in a small group. You usually know these things without needing to write them down. But when you are assessing your teammates, you need to know in what's up to what agreement, what can I expect from you. So that's the purpose of role and responsibilities. The commitment is about doing the mathematically using it for the base compensation that you might be expected outside the input of the crowd. And then the next thing is market rate, which you see underneath, which is how much is your work valued in a way that is fair for you. You can go for really objective market rate. If with this row, how much money can you earn in an organization that is well funded, or you can use, yeah, you can,
Yeah,
that's
the market rate is a statement of your value. Like, Young, if you consider that your value worth $6,000 per month, and that's actually making sense for everyone else, and it's making sense already in the outer market. There is also a cost opportunity because you could be giving your efforts to another organization. So and again, this is an agreement. This is an agreement between you and the organization. Of course, this is an MVP, meaning that agreeing with an organization means so far to agree with the admin. We are not lying here saying that this is decentralizing that meaning. What is decentralizing is actually the assessment of of
Help me
the
understand,
of the agreement
Gustavo
itself.
or Milena, like what with this number, how does that impact like the overall dynamic? Because like right here we've got four people. So help me understand what this is. Because like, I would like to be a seven-figure earner, but that probably doesn't make sense, right?
yeah.
Remember that the final, yeah, go for it, Millie.
Thank you. I'll take on this one. Yeah. I would just give you an example with because in Collabberry, we use our model. That's how we reward each other. We managed to build this whole MVP with a grant from Questbook of 20,000, and we got around 3,000 USD from Gitcoin. So that's all the money that we've had in the organization. We're very transparent about it. And we managed to build this whole MVP. And how did we do that? That's where the sweat equity comes, that we are leveraging on distributing ownership. So my personal agreement, um, my market rate at the moment in Collabberry is $8,000. So this is the money that the team and I believe that would be fair for me to make when I work full time doing what I do. However, our organization has in total $23,000, so that's obviously not really feasible. So my monetary compensation, the next field, is zero. I actually don't make any money. We have other people in the team that have some monetary compensation, but that's how much money you take per month from the organization. And then what's like these $8,000 obviously run through the algorithm, meaning that they fluctuate based on the input of the crowd. So like the assessments of the peer reviews that you get on a monthly basis. But this is the dynamic equity that you get on a monthly basis with Collabberry. And then that has value. So for me, my market rate in that sense, the whole of it, because my monetary compensation is zero, is translated to sweat equity, which at some point it can be used for either profit distribution when Collabberry is making money, or sweat like incorporating and having equity, or dropping a coin, or something else. And then these proportions, you can use these proportions of the sweat equity that are minted every month in a in a decentralized way on chain, you can use this as a proof of your ownership over the organization. So this is what the market rate is supposed to be. What would be what is fair for you to earn, even if the organization has money, right? Because we often end up in this situation working in startups or contributing to small organizations that we undersell each other because that's what the organization can afford. But that's not really fair because you do you should earn those you should be compensated for all of this, but in an alternative way. Is that easier? Does that make sense?
It does. And I saw that Trix had a question in the Zoom chat a few minutes ago as far as is there a meaningful difference between capacity and commitment?
I I would answer yes, because capacity is about how much can I take on, and commitment is how much am I stating I will take on. And I think that now here it's a matter of, like, for me personally, and I'm not a native English speaker, so please correct me if I'm wrong. We use the word commitment exactly because it comes with accountability and responsibility. That's what I committed I'm going to do for organization, regardless if I have lower or higher capacity. If I have lower capacity, I'm going to work overtime, do my weekends, not go to vacation. I'm going to commit that.
Yeah, I will. I agree with you. I think the commitment is what you promised you're gonna cover in your work, and capacity is what you're actually capable to
Yeah.
do. So it's important also to take what is the statement of agreement and then the evaluation of the agreement itself, because sometimes people are going to be very standard and acceptable in terms you agree to this, you deliver that, cool, perfect. But if you are over exceeding your agreement, if you say, hey, you had commitment to this amount of time, but actually you had capacity for even further, and you deliver a good work, your peers are going to say that and say, okay, this guy is actually deserve a really good rate there. And just to put Milena's words in a TLDR regarding market rates and compensation, I will say that market rate is what you value, what the contributors value, while compensation is what the organization is able to pay for it. Okay, so then there is the difference between my value and what the compensation is, what the organization is paying me. And based on that difference, and based on the assessment from my peers, from my colleagues, then the algorithm is going to calculate a number that is going to, of course, be calculated in the same way for everyone. Of course, everyone will have different market rates and different compensations. And this final number will give a number, an amount of tokens that are going to be a direct representation of how much people are owning of this project, of this initiative where they collectively worked together. I hope that makes that.
Yeah, and I think that I'm good with what I've put in here for my agreement. So now I just click on save. And Milena, you said that this can be changed later, right?
Yes, yes.
All right.
Yeah,
Agreement
it
for
is a
Yonks
super
has been
advisable
added.
practice. Nice, 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 nice. Of course, it's super advisable practice that you guys, all of you, agree together on this. This is a collective agreement in a team of 5. It's going to be very, very easy. We're already thinking on AI deliberation for taking these agreements very easily between one person and the rest of the team
Yeah,
to
and just
enable
to
more
like
decentralization in this. But yeah.
and to like unpack how that I'm really envisioning, because like the way that we're structuring my IRA fund is a member cooperative, and we're looking to onboard 100 founding members, and I have no delusions that the 100 founding members are going to be actively contributing like sweat equity into the project. But one of the things that we're putting forward through our tokenomics, and then also I'm setting the expectations with our core contributors is, and this is something that we want to kind of bake into a founding agreement, because one of the core beliefs that I have is if you do a great job setting expectations and then you deliver on those expectations, people are normally, happy with that. It's when you set expectations and then you deviate from those expectations that people get pissed off. So what we're looking to do with our tokenomics, and I'm actually going to bring that up because I think that that's worth highlighting a little bit because it does provide some perspective on things. So I'm here. This is our very public 3-win social, and I'm going to do a search for tokenomics. Because this is also something too that I'm putting forward as far as a fair launch, because I don't think that most projects really execute what I would consider a fair launch from a tokenomics either. So this is what our tokenomics look like for my IRA fund, and I'm going to be as a founder, co-founder, founding member, going to be raising at a $20 million valuation my IRA fund, where we're going to be doing 50% of that. And then out of that 20 million valuation, looking to raise 5 million, the other 5 million is going to go into a Dow Treasury. And this is where we're looking to put forward a proposal to these 100 founding members using the efforts that we document here through Collabberry so that we can retroactively reward the core team as a slice of this Dow Treasury for the pre-launch. And then also, like, we've got multiple phases. We're in pre-launch. We're about to flip the switch to a alpha phase, and then we're going to do a beta phase. And then we're also doing 50% of that to ecosystem public goods, positioning AiAgents.Box, which is where these conversations are unfolding. But I felt that this was relevant, and this is our tokenomics version 1.0, the opportunity to do a more complicated tokenomics version 2.0 that we collectively as the 100 founding members decide upon. So that's really what we're looking to do with Collabberry here during this pre-launch, is create a proposal that the 100 founding members will, and whether, there might be 2 or 3 different proposals or whatever, I don't know, just talking out loud here, but that's kind of the direction that we're looking to go in. So besides the agreements, help us understand what are some other, I see this rounds. We haven't talked about rounds, so help us understand what that looks like.
Yeah, before rounds, I will recommend to go to settings so we can navigate a little bit what are the organization settings and what this is important on. So, Mile, I'm very sure that you're going to explain this part better than.
Yeah. So basically, there's 2 types of settings, and these are the round settings. So we need to set those up before we can start a round for you. And the rounds are run on a period basis. In our beta, there is only monthly, because that's what we see that people want to do, because they don't want to put that much admin work to people working for the organization to do peer-to-peer assessments every other week. So in this view, we're setting up the round. So the round is going to run once every month, starting on the day that you see compensation period start date. So I would advise for this demo to put it to 1st of January so that we can see the round being created. It's going to be created a new round for a previous period. So that's, if you set this to 1st of January, that would mean that it's going to be that this round that's going to start. Oh, that's our time zones bug. Can you select the second one? Sorry. If you select this, we have a time zone bug. Just please select the second, not the first, because our time zones are in CET. So sorry about that. So this is going. That means that the first round that it's going to be created, it's for the January. So you're going to assess each other for the work that you've done in January. The assessment start delay says how much time after this period you want for it to start. 0 days is good. It's just a matter of giving, if you have some governance processes, to give you time before the round is opened if you need to decide on something else. Then the assessment duration, we have these default settings. So that's good, 5 days. So everyone has 5 days to do the assessments. And then peer assessment weight 20%. That means we recommend leaving it at 20, but this is one of the core elements of the algorithm that's creating the compensation package, which is how much of your base salary that we created for you. It was $10,000 market rate, 100%. So that your base salary is $10,000. How much of this $10,000 can fluctuate based on your peers' inputs. So it can, in this case, it can either decrease or increase up to 20%. And the reason why I recommend 20% is that, for instance, with something like Coordinate, you can have it up to 100 in a different way. Obviously, it works in a slightly different way, but that's where you can end up having with Coordinate. That creates a very unsafe environment for someone committing time in an organization. So in our research, 20% is pretty optimal for people to feel safe, but also for you to feel properly rewarded and appreciated by your teammates when you get higher assessments. So if you click save on this one, that these
And
settings are going to be, yeah.
help me understand, since we set this for a compensation period start date of January 1st, and today is February 14th, what is this going to look like?
Right. That's for the compensation period. It's the period is monthly and it starts on 1st of January. So basically for the whole January, for the month of January, you're going to be assessing each other on the next round. So this is the compensation period that we're currently running is for January, not for February, because we're in the middle of February. And we want to put it, like, for the sake of this demo, we want to put it in the back so that the round actually gets created and we can go through assessments.
Okay. So
And
save now?
yeah, click save. And I don't think we need to change anything, but if you click on the team points contract settings, that's the settings of the dynamic equity contract itself. And basically, there are a few settings that, again, those are default values that we recommend using. And it's about the transferability of the token. So basically, if currently the default setting is that it's not transferable, meaning that it's you cannot sell your equity in the organization because it's really early stage, and that's very problematic and it can lead to a lot of problems. And we have another setting which is for transferability outside the team. So we allow the contract has a setting which allows you to transfer only within the team, so that you, for instance, are in a bad place or there is something going on and you're like, hey, can you please, Gustavo, in my case, it would be Gustavo, help me out, buy me out a little bit of equity so that I can pay for whatever is going on in my life. But the value of the token remains in the organization, which is very important. And we also allowed for this to be a very regular token, which is transferable. However, we don't really recommend it for early stage teams. And then we have these multipliers, the material and the time multipliers, which is basically if someone in the time multiplier, in the case that you are not taking any USD out of the company, you are putting, you have your market rate, but your compensation is zero. You get your sweat equity multiplier 2, which means that you are going to get twice the amount of USD in team points. And the reason for that is that you're taking a way higher risk. If I work in the organization and I take all my money in fiat at the end of the month, you are way more risk averse in that case. So there is this multiplier that allows this can be set to 1, and then it would be exactly $1 for 1 team point, which is the name that we use for the sweat equity. Our default value is 2, so that we acknowledge that the people that are taking a higher risk should be highly rewarded. And material compensation multiplier material contribution multiplier is if you put money in the organization. And the idea of that is to create potentially a platform where you can, instead of donating in the way that we all get matching funds from Give It, you can actually have a platform where I can invest in your organization by getting some team points in return. Of course, that, like, in order not to be gamified, there is always proportions of how much I can put in as material contribution. But these are the settings. None of our organizations that use Collabberry currently do anything with them. They just remain them as they are. But it's really the core of the sweat equity token that we've created. So it's important to understand it if you want to build a tokenomical model on top.
Yeah, and we absolutely are with my IRA fund specifically, which is what we're doing this project for here on
Yeah.
Collabberry. We are setting forward the expectations that our founding members, not only the core contributors, but also the people that may not be contributing sweat equity, will be equity investors into the AI agent brand, my IRA fund that we're creating. So this is definitely something that we will be using, and we're putting a nice time frame for people to do that, like a 6 month from when they sign their founding member agreement to fulfill their material contribution from an equity standpoint into our project. But so I'm not going to make any changes here. Real quick, does anybody have any questions that's on the Zoom or the live stream? I see we've got a few people watching the live stream as well.
I did have one question back on the compensation tab in the settings. When there was the definition of the compensation period, so that made sense that we're picking January so that we can pick a period that's already concluded. What I'm confused about is the assessment start delay and the assessment duration. Is that initiated when a round is started? And meaning that, like, so the duration's 5 days. When does that 5 day period start? Is there like a manually initiated point, or is that part of the process somewhere?
Honestly, this UX is our most difficult and confusing for everyone. So this is actually helpful for us, all your confusion. But the duration is from when the round starts, and the round starts at the end of the compensation period. So basically, this would start, if we're back in the time, this would start on the 1st of February. And you will have 5 days till 5th of February to assess each other. Now, since you cannot really start a round in the past, the system would default to starting it today, like starting it in the current moment. But yes, did I answer?
Yeah, and then the delay would come in. So theoretically, let's say it started in January and ends at the end of January. If the delay is 0, then the assessment period starts February 1st. But if the delay
Yes.
is 5, then it would start February 5th.
Yes, exactly.
Perfect.
So are we good to go to the rounds now?
Yes. Beautiful. So that's a bug.
No, are you sure it's a bug? Because they haven't set the agreements of all the team.
A round should still be created. Can you go back
Okay,
to settings?
so that's a bug.
1st of January. Yeah. Give me a second. That'd be helpful.
In the meantime, few things that are also very interesting to understand regarding the compensation, or regarding the spirit assessment weight, and regarding the difference between market rate and compensation rate, for example. is also the possibility of slashing, especially when the difference between the market rate and the monetary rate are slow, are sorry, slow. No, they're is little. For example, let's say that you have the money to pay yourself, and you will pay yourself $9,000. Then you guys need to be careful because when if at the beginning you're just starting to yeah to perform normally, and doing the thing that you're accumulating team points, that's good. But if you start to perform badly, meaning that instead of the let's say that you were expecting 1,000 team points per month, and you receive 1 stars, and with this peer assessment rate you will receive 800, and less than what you receive. So there is the possibility, and I don't remember. Maybe Kansi or Mile. I want to ask Kansi because I noticed Mile is there checking the code. I'm not sure what is Mile doing right now.
And I'm
Uh,
not sure if it makes any difference, but one of the things that's also, I think, a little bit more unique about how that we're building our ecosystem is we're also going to be creating the opportunity through our ambassador program for people such as myself to promote onboarding members, cooperative members into our ecosystem. And that's another form of compensation in the form of affiliate commissions that we're building into our thing. So, and right now we're planning to use, at least for our pre-launch alpha and beta phase, splits.org for facilitating some compensation using that workflow. And that's something that may be worthwhile. But that's a different stream of compensation than this sort of compensation, if that makes sense.
Yep, I'm gonna update you that actually I just checked, and we have some rules that the round will not be created unless some people join the team, which makes sense actually, because you cannot run the round yourself. But yes, I forgot about this limit. So if we're running out of time, I don't know if how do
Yeah,
you
so we would need more than myself to have an
yes,
agreement for the
yeah,
round. Got it,
yeah,
got
because
it. Yeah, and
otherwise it's you assessing yourself, and it's you can game the system basically.
sure, sure. Well,
yeah,
that being said, Ernest or I am Lotus, this is an opportunity to add an agreement for yourself so that we can get the round underway, and then I'll ping the other people here on the team. But yeah, we are at the hour, and always want to be respectful of everybody's time. And I'm going to bounce back to the Giveth project here. I'm going to be donating. Thank you so much, Collabberry, for the work that you're doing. Looking forward to using your tool here for our contributions. And I'm going to throw this on the live stream for everybody on the other end. And also, Neros. Did I get that right, Trix? Neros?
Yeah, near host. It's kind of
Near host.
yeah, tough one, near host.
So does anybody have any final thoughts, questions before we bring this live stream to a close here today?
I will just invite people to go to beta.collabberry.xyz to follow our channels. At Collabberry in Twitter is where we are more active. And don't be afraid. Just go try, break up things, especially at the beginning. If you break up things, it's a very nice way to learn. If you have any doubts, you have our Twitter to reach us out. We are super active. We're super listening to what our community needs from us. So what they are asked. If you have suggestions or whatever regarding your needs, please let us know, because we really want to build for what people want and need.
Well, we have. I'm not afraid of providing feedback as far as what we're doing, going through the process. So we'll keep the conversation going there on the RNDAO Discord and the Collabberry channels as well, and looking also just to plant some seeds to the universe. Would love to have some thought input on DAO rap, reputation and rapport. I think that there's a huge opportunity to create a AI agent or agents to fulfill that. And there's a lot of conversations unfolding at a very rapid clip surrounding AI agents, and facilitating those in the R and DAO
Yeah.
Discord as well.
Super looking forward. We really think like Collabberry primitive can be very useful for reputation. Of course, I mean, it's already a reputation system, even if it's internal in organization, and we're open to explore how this can be actually communicated out to market if we want to create some social reputation systems where people can, yeah, they could sell their labors not only to one company but to more than one, and that makes totally sense. Thank you very much, Junks. Please drop me. I lost the link of the Cheers Give Us campaign. I want to donate few USD glows there as well. Super appreciate what you guys are doing, and super looking forward to have this conversation later. And yeah, let's build great collab tech. Let's
Indeed.
grow.
Well, thank you again, Collabberry, Milena, Gustavo, Kanziland, Triggs, I am Lotus, Ernest of Gaia, Stephen, for participating today. And like I said, I'll get an airdrop of the Unlock Protocol certificate for your participation today to have a little NFT for hanging out with us on February 14th for the Collabberry Deep Dive.
Thank you. Thank you for having us. And